to tell time on that, bro.
But it's not really for time.
I think it's
Is it for like the pressure?
It works with the sun. From what like the brief description I saw, like just to have that, like that would just be like, yeah, I got an alien watch. So
yeah, it would be cool. It's a cool accessory.
Yeah.
Do they sell those like a
they're selling it like not like a Ben 10, bro, like a high end watch. That's like but it's a really cool promotion.
But does it like the ones that they sell now? Is it like do they tell time?
I don't know. It's literally that. Like I think it tells the time with the sun, like a sundial. So you need to see like
It's so much work.
Yeah, it's so much work. But just to have it, just to flex, but like you can't even see. Chill. This has nothing to do with Akira. You can't even see the watch, the time on a rollie. Some of them. Well, that's just from what rappers say, what they flex on.
I think it's just that it's like modern.
Because
we're just accustomed to
digital time.
looking at digital time.
Yeah.
So when we get started.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What's the introduction?
Welcome back to Lazy and Confused podcast. I'm joined by
Xander,
my best friend Xander.
Yeah.
Ethan, not in this episode. Couldn't make it. There were some scheduling issues, so but he will be in the next episode.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Probably.
Yeah.
So let's get going.
Yeah. So just want to say, like, before we get into this, obviously you can see this is like a film setup. This is the film podcast because I'm a film student, so we're mostly going to be talking about that type of thing. But yeah.
We love film. That's the thing.
Yeah, I love movies, love cinema, love television. Even if I watch it, anything that's recorded, like
good cinematography.
Yeah, some podcasts like this podcast has great cinematography right now.
Like I was mentioning, it's so good to have this because this is in itself a sort of film. Like we were saying.
Yeah.
So it's good to we get to put that into it also. The setup,
editing, set. Yeah.
It's such a cool experience.
A low key bit of performance. Yeah. This is not how we usually talk.
Obviously.
Yeah. Obviously.
We're gonna be talking about Barbenheimer because we have a fan now.
Yeah.
Gotta edit that out in case there's add some music.
Yeah.
What music should I add? Should we do like scores?
I was thinking scores copyrighted. Yeah, mostly from what I know. But
we'll find something that's like
you can even there's like we did sort in school, like there's a website where you can get like royalty free music, so you can always use that. So what do you want to talk about first?
Well, let's just let it flow. Let's talk about film school.
Yeah, okay. So currently I'm in my second year of film school. And it's been great. This is the second week now. This is the third day of the second week. We just had our online lecture. So in my school, after Joburg, which is actually the best film school in the continent. So shout out to my parents. I've enjoyed it so far. I'm currently, my major for right now is the first station 1, which is screen production, which is writing, directing, and producing. So currently for my crew, for our current shoot that we're going to be doing this term, is I'll be writing the script with another young lady who she's cool.
Excited to work with.
When the content matter of our script involves sexual assault, so when I suggested that when we said we were going to do this, I was like, let's have a female director and as well as a male director and as well as a female writer and a male writer, just to get that perspective. Yeah, because not just be talking on my ass.
And it's not a very male experience.
Yeah. I mean, I've never done that to someone, but
It makes sense. But you guys have, can you tell us anything about what you're planning?
The future.
No, for this specific project.
So this project, it's about a girl named Rachel, and she feels invisible her whole life. This is adapted from what someone at the after campus in Cape Town had written. So they wrote, it's called The Luckiest Girl Alive, and she felt invisible, Rachel. just a casual high school story. She felt invisible until her crush gave her some attention. Next thing you know, she's getting invited to this party. Next thing you know, she's waking up the next day with her underwear missing, and she's been tagged in this video 5,000 times. And the video, obviously, of her assault. And in the end, she actually ends up taking her own life. So the title of it is quite ironic. Lucky is still alive. It's very tongue in cheek, but it's very. Our school always tries to make us focus on things that actually happen in South Africa, and because that's such a big thing that happens in this country.
It's a very good subject matter.
Yeah,
something that needs a lot more representation. Because you don't like what you do see of it. I feel like it's not as like real.
Yeah.
As like the stories that you hear in real time.
100%.
Which is understandable also because that's like a hard thing to make. It's a hard thing to watch.
100%. There was a couple people who were in my crew. You could see not to say that they were triggered, but the content was definitely affecting them. Maybe they've known someone. Because I think the statistics is that 1 in 5 women in this country have actually been sexually assaulted. So that's like it's a very real reality. And I had my feelings about doing it. There was another script that they actually had us. Gave us, and it was about like creating drugs. So it was almost like Breaking Bad. So I thought that was kind of funny. It was just these girls who can't get high off the shit that they already do anymore. So then they start to make their own drugs. Yeah, yeah. I was also like, yeah, that is a fun one. But nobody really, because it's a democratic process, and they're like, no, I want to do this one because I'm like, okay, yeah. If everyone's in agreement, I'm glad because that was actually the first one that I looked at. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. But then, because of the content, I was like, yeah, you know what?
I'm sure that also makes for a better project if everyone's in agreement.
Yeah, that 100%. Because I've been in crews where you could see people maybe didn't like the script, and then it's weird because everyone. And it shows. And also, because we're just in film school right now, not everyone is 100% sure if this is what they want for their life. So you can see people who are slacking or whatever, maybe because they just lack of interest, and especially if you don't care about the script. That really, I mean, that's why 99% of projects, even in Hollywood, aren't successful as because they just did it for the cash, they did it for the money, whatever. Yeah.
Speaking of the MCU, let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Yeah. To speak of that, so there was a recent trailer that came out for a movie that I thought was going to be called Deadpool and Friend because of some of the trademarks that Marvel had taken out. But in the end, it was, as everyone knows, it was called Deadpool and Wolverine, which is actually the most viewed trailer of all time. It's a cool trailer.
I'm not the one person.
The most viewed trailer of all time, apparently. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, in terms of that, besides, because when we started having this conversation, that you wanted to, you said that you wanted to speak from someone from perspective of someone who's not as engaged. I am a big Marvel fan. I've seen every film in the Infinity Saga in cinema except for like 5 movies, and that was either because I was too young or with Ant-Man. But not to hate on Ant-Man. I love Spider-Man. Love for it. But yeah, in recent years. But I just want to see what do you think is the flaws, and maybe I can speak to that, what I think it is, and just
I think you can clearly see that there's been a decline in specifically the writing.
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing.
Yeah.
And that always most people I would say wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
But if you bit into it, you know the lore, you know like the stuff that came before the film on the story specifically, which is especially with Ant-Man and the Wasp. You could see that clearly.
That was a very big. That was probably the
fumble.
The one that actually made everyone aware. Because when Thor: Love and Thunder came out, people were talking about it like it wasn't the best movie. Yeah, people were starting to talk about it. Then when Ant-Man and the Wasp came out, especially, even though I don't think it's when people saw how Kang got taken out in the film. If you haven't seen it, Kang got taken out by ants. The Thanos of this spoiler alert, the Thanos of this saga was literally defeated by ants in this film. So that really took the wind out of many people's sails for the future of the MCU, and as well as just, like Kadhir said, overall just bad writing.
What I think is, especially with Ant-Man and the Wasp and Thor: Love and Thunder, is when you watch the movie, it feels like the movie began as something else.
Yeah.
And then they changed it halfway through making it.
110%.
Which is the worst thing that you could possibly do.
This is actually the problem that has been the problem with a lot of these MCU movies, like for the past, since 2020, because 2020 we had a pandemic, 2021 pandemic extended into that. There was a lot of projects that were being filmed that actors couldn't get into, like in the case of Ant-Man and Quantumania. It was low-key one of the points of conversation when that film came out, that the actress who acted the Wasp, that's why she's not featured in the movie prominently. She was actually an anti-that. So they, in a way, had to write her out of the movie. And I saw that in the original draft of the film, she was actually pregnant in the film, and she had a way bigger, it's Ant-Man and the Wasp, but it was mainly Ant-Man and his daughter. So that was really weird for that film. So every film has really been a hodgepodge of things, like they're almost like a Frankenstein of it, where they're taking all these things that work, but you have to have this in the story because you need that. Like there was a lot of things. So that's really what it came down to. The fact that I need to mention this, that Kevin Feige, who's the CEO of Marvel Studios, he didn't have full creative control at the time because there was a new CEO at Disney, and he had appointed his people as the head of each studios, and that's why you had the increase in content because they were focusing on Disney Plus. In 2021, Marvel had 8 projects come out, 4 movies, 4 TV shows. That is a lot. That is a lot for any studio, for anyone. And between 2021 and 2023, which was Phase 4, I think they had maybe 20 projects in total. So you have to think about that. So it was really a tough situation for the people behind the scenes. We're still seeing some of that drippage from that regime of Disney. But hopefully moving forward, like in the case of Daredevil, they had shot the whole a portion of the TV show, 3 full episodes. They watched those full episodes. They decided they cannot release this compared to what the Netflix Daredevil was. So then they went back and they got rid of everyone that worked on that show. They got rid of those episodes, and now they basically did a completely creative overhaul, and they got a lot of people from the old Netflix TV series to be working on the show, and they brought back Carolyn Foggy. They brought back
I love that guy, even though I don't actually like him as a character. Yeah. I love that he's in the show. He brings a good balance to
Matt's life. Yeah. That's
so. He represents the double life.
Yeah, hopefully things will be going better going forward, especially just in terms of this year. There's only one MCU Marvel movie coming out, even though Madame Web came out last week, which ate shit in the worst way.
They kind of really put the whole marketing on Dakota Johnson to sell the movie, and I think that was the first mistake, but then also the movie being attractive was like the bigger mistake.
The reviews were saying it's worse than Morbius, so I think there was an article that came out like yesterday.
What was that? Because I know Madame Web is a Spider-Man character. Was that like Sony?
Yeah, that was Sony. No, that was Sony Marvel. Yeah. Like the way how the collaboration was. They've never been good. Yeah. I mean, you have
like Venom.
Venom is fine.
Yeah, Venom was okay. Yeah.
Yes, but
Venom won.
They were not looking to the real reason why they make those. But I'll get to another part of that in a second.
It feels like a cash grab.
A cash grab. Also, to keep the rights of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because they're contractually obligated to make a Spider-Man related film every 3.5 years. So they're just going to keep on making that for the rest of the time. But the other part of the best part of this Sony Marvel collaboration is the Spider-Verse movies, which have been the only Oscar-nominated superhero movies of all time. So that just speaks to
not only that, just some of the best animated movies.
It's some of the best animated movies of all time. So that really speaks to when they know what they're doing, they know what they're doing. But not to get into the behind the scenes of those.
But that makes sense then, because then you need like the Madam Webs to fund those movies. Because I'm pretty sure that's a very expensive movie to make.
You'd be surprised that Madam Web is actually more expensive because it's just animators, and animators is not.
But they should be paid more.
110%. 110%. I was actually quite disappointed when the best picture list came out and Spider-Verse was not nominated. Like I was like, okay, it's fine, But in my personal opinion, I feel like Across the Spider-Verse was a far greater film than Way of the Water, which did get Oscar nominated. But to continue the MCU conversation,
Yeah, but that's just I feel like that's just because like superhero movies have never been like really respected.
Respected, yeah, and I understand why. Even The Dark Knight, in the year that it came out, it was the best movie of that year. It only got one nomination. That was for Heath Ledger, and that was even because he passed at that time. So yeah, but to continue that conversation, a lot of people feel that Deadpool is going to save the Marvel universe. Kadhir hasn't seen the trailer, but in the trailer it features Deadpool in the TVA. It features Deadpool.
I've seen that. I can see the clips online.
It features
very cool.
yeah, it features a lot of stuff that a lot of fans are gonna not even to get into some because I'm a really big fan, and at this point I've given up on waiting until the film comes out to know what's happening in it. So I know a lot of the spoilers. Some spoilers regarding the new Daredevil series, some spoilers going into Deadpool. So yeah, I think people are gonna be really surprised. Really, it's gonna be a fan satisfying film after a lot of fans have not felt satisfied with the MCU in a long time.
And also, like, I think just making a Deadpool movie is almost it's like
an antidote.
It's gonna sell.
Yeah.
Regardless of what.
Yeah.
Even when the first Deadpool movie came out, there was no doubt at all for that movie.
Yes. I mean, no, actually, then when that movie, that Ryan Reynolds had to leak a previs of the movie, and that actually sparked a lot of conversation. Then that's what got the movie, because at the time there was no R-rated superhero movies, so they almost looked. Yeah, exactly. That's why it's actually quite a funny part. I don't know if you remember it. In the final fight, when they get into the cab with Bill Fender and they're going to go fight Clarence, whatever the guy's name is, Francis, and then Deadpool's like, oh, I forgot all my guns, and the reason why that was because the movie didn't have a big enough budget to have that big, massive third act with all the guns and all the CGI. So yeah, but then with Deadpool,
but they had that in literally the first like Deadpool scene where he's like on the highway.
Yeah.
They kind of had that, which is good. I mean, that's the thing. Like with Deadpool, it's such a versatile character that you can do because it can appease the children in a way, like in that it's like a fun character. Like, the fun uncle, the uncle that swears a lot, you know, like that. But then also like the adult factor, there's like sexual jokes,
dark themes as well.
Then there's the psychological aspect of it. That's like, why is he so goofy? You know, like you want to know that.
His life pretty much got ruined. Yeah,
I've seen the part like where he's like at like the family dinner. That's all.
No, that was from what we've seen. Post credit scene of Deadpool, it looks like Deadpool went into a timeline where he both had Vanessa and he had the whole family, like even Josh Brolin
and he was like
as Cable.
Cured,
he had just had hair, but it was a toothache. No, really funny. So,
but I like that because also in Secret Wars, in the comic books, I remember that he had he was like normal. He didn't have the, not to say that that's not normal, but like,
he got killed. Yeah, I don't think he has an illness. Scars and stuff. The scars. Due to his cancer. I think
but in the movie it's not due to his cancer. It's because he got burned from it.
But the machine. But he survived. Pretty crazy. I feel like, especially because Hugh Jackman is coming back, a lot of people who have not been interested in even the casual fans, like that is a movie that even my mom would watch.
Like the last cinematic movie that came out of like, not considering the MCU, but like out of the Marvel, all the different series, was Logan.
That's one of the biggest highlights of any Marvel, any superhero movie in the last 10 years.
Because that was like, it wasn't just a superhero movie, it was like cinema.
It was cinema, really, like type of cinema.
And that's what I was like specifically about the Wolverine series, the X-Men Origins, and then the one in Japan. That was just called Wolverine.
The Wolverine.
That one, like, you could see like how they were trying to set it up, but there was like conflicts within, like I would say maybe the companies. And also, I'm really excited to bring the mutants in.
Yes.
Because it's always been
the tagline of this film when it first got Deadpool and Wolverine. The tagline of the film, this was like when it got released, like on the Disney website, it said the irresponsible. The first version that came out, it was the fucking irresponsible anti-hero Deadpool changes the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that's actually quite a big. What would that be?
Big statement.
Big statement. Will he go back and save Quicksilver? Will he bring mutants in the MCU? It's a big thing. And speaking on continuing the conversation of the old Marvel, before Fox had the rights to the Fantastic Four and the X-Men and various other characters, and now we're actually seeing the Fantastic Four come into the MCU with Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards.
Thank you, Disney.
Thank you, Disney. Yeah, that was really.
That was a power move.
Yes, shout out to that. So right now we are seeing the biggest change of the last 4 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think it will. Going on from here, I think good things are coming.
It will definitely
I'm
be good
I'm confident
for the. How do I say this? I don't want to say the company.
Yeah.
Like of course, they wouldn't make decisions that aren't good for the company, but like it's just good for like I would say like superhero movie culture.
Yeah, in general. Yeah, and I mean now you even have James Gunn doing his own thing with.
He's getting a Schneider cut.
With his own DC universe, which will probably be what we know as DC going forward.
Yeah.
The only non-DC universe property that's even coming out is the last thing, is the Penguin series with Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
And it's bound to be good.
That's definitely.
Who are they doing it with Warner Bros?
Everything Warner Bros. Yeah. Speaking on Warner Bros. Actually has quite a big film coming out this month in Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
Which releases next week Friday. I've seen a lot of reviews come out. Every single review of this film has been, this is the best movie of this generation sci-fi.
Well, we've been knowing though.
This is the masterpiece that we've been waiting for.
I don't mind putting hope in that movie.
Yeah, no.
There's no way that it doesn't play out.
Yeah.
There's absolutely
no way.
You
have Denis Villeneuve, who has basically been thinking about these movies for the past 20 years, his whole working film career.
This is his masterpiece.
This is his moment. Yeah.
The trilogy, it's going to be like
they were planning on doing a trilogy.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and Life of Pablo. That's what it is. It's like all three. That's what it is. He's going for
definitely having his Life of Pablo.
Exactly.
Yes. And we're actually gonna see it next week Saturday, not this week Saturday.
Don't do time. Don't say it yet.
True.
By the time this is out, we wouldn't have seen it yet, but it's very soon.
Very soon.
Because the movie comes out with first
of March.
That's when it releases here.
That's when it releases worldwide. Yeah.
Okay, worldwide.
Yeah. Yes. Dune Part 2 in IMAX, featuring Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Austin Butler, Florence Pugh.
You know what's my favorite thing so far about the movie that I've just seen like the trailer and stuff?
What
is the different tones that the movie is going to adopt.
Yeah.
Like with the black and white for
the Harkonnen
planet.
Yes.
It's just, it looks.
Yeah.
It's so good. It just looks so good.
Like they really went above and beyond. Because a lot of people actually had complaints about the first movie, just in terms of what Kadhir was talking about now, the tone of the colors of Arrakis. It just looked really dry. Just like a really dry desert.
That's what it was.
That's exactly what it was.
But I like that because it's almost foreshadowing. Because it's like Arrakis never mattered until the Atreides went there.
Yeah. And now we have a very broad, like we have the black and white scenes with the Harkonnens. We have the more greenish, lush type of scenes that we'll see on Titan, the planet of the Emperor and Princess Irulan, who has a much bigger role in this film than if I were to be making it would have given her. Because
why is that?
If I just to speak on that, in my view, Irulan was just a pawn in the game to become the Emperor of the universe for Paul.
What he says in the
what he says. But to Liet Kynes, yes, and his mom. Yes, Paul has been planning this. But the way that Denis Villeneuve, he really loves female characters, and he's giving all of these female characters a lot more agency. Just in terms of Chani in the book, she believes Paul before they even met. Like, she's just another subservient, feminine girl who's like, oh, my husband, blah, 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 can I get anything from you? Exactly what you'd expect from something you might see in some religions with some wives, how they're treated. But the way Denis Villeneuve has
isn't that how the character was written in the book?
That's how she's written in the book. But Denis Villeneuve has actually given Chani a little bit more agency, that she actually knows that Paul is everything that she is against. She doesn't want a false prophet. She doesn't want someone to own her planet. She just wants her people to live the way that they've been living for centuries now. But there's also the conflict in that she loves her. She sees him as like, this is my man, you know, this is who I love. And then that conflict that comes between them, I think that's very interesting. But just to go back to Irulan, that she's not even the
She was the forgotten one, isn't she? In terms of like this is my understanding.
Yeah.
Obviously, I may be
no.
mistaken. But from what I've seen from like the writings and like specifically the songs of the Muad'Dib, which I love that.
Books
like,
that she wrote. Yeah.
I haven't like obviously I haven't read it fully, but
book,
I've seen like parts of it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
What I see it as is that she's like the forgotten one. Is that, that like if you see like how you would theorize that a man with multiple wives, that one is going to have obviously a seat at the table while the other one doesn't.
Yes, exactly that. In Dune Messiah, that is definitely she is the third wheel in their relationship. Even though they love each other, she wants to have children by Paul. She wants to do all of these things. But just in terms of Dune Part 2, it seems that Denis Villeneuve is giving her a lot more agency. That she is not even the pawn. She's in fact the queen of this, because there is no way that Paul can become emperor without marrying her. So it really is her that's making the events of the film. Just spoilers if you don't know. At the end of
this was spoiler.
Yeah. But she has a lot more agency, and I love that for her. And that's
you talk about in the book because obviously like the story is a bit altered.
A little bit more altered. Yeah. So they have that. I'm very interested to see.
It's a very cool dynamic to see. That's what I like about the Villeneuve also, is that what he's been doing, because as we watched the old one, who directed that?
David Lynch.
The David Lynch one. It wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't a very good movie either.
Yeah, 100%.
It was kind of a fumble. But as we see, I think that what I would say was the reason for that was that Denis Villeneuve was giving more of the story to the characters.
Yes.
It's not so much like a narrative, it's more like you see the characters playing these things out.
Exactly. Yeah, the characters have center stage.
Yes.
It's less about the world and more about the characters.
Which is not to take away from the world, because he built a beautiful world.
Amazing. Both amazing worlds. Between Lynch and Villeneuve both created great interpretations of Frank Herbert's work. I would just say Dune was created, David Lynch's Dune was shot in 1970s, where the budget was not the same, the CGI was not the same. They were not going to shoot in an actual desert. They did what they could. There was really some interesting stuff that not even in the book. Like, just one of my favorite things is they have the Harkonnens have death plugs that when you pull them out, they just die. And also the Baron. Not to take away from the Baron in the movies, he's a lot more sadistic. And in the book, the Baron is actually a boy fondler, if you will, and he has a very strange relationship with his nephew. And Faye, who will be seen prominently portrayed by.
Because Faye is like the pretty one.
Yeah, Faye is the pretty one. He is also a major player because it really is between him and Paul about who's going to be the next person. Who's going to be, because at that point in the book,
he controls the spice.
He becomes the Baron is grooming him to become the next Baron. To become the next Baron, while Raban is there just angry. Oh, Raban!
But I want to see more of the conflict between Fade and Raban, because obviously Raban's going to be like, I'm the older one. You know what I mean? Like, this is my seat. And you just take, I did all the work. You should just sat there and look pretty the entire time. What I want to see is like, because I really like The Godfather. Now you see that with the relationship between not Sonny or Salvador, because it's Michael, Sonny, and
Vito.
No, Vito's the father. Well, the other brother, the one that betrays Michael.
Yeah, I think it's James Conn accident.
Yes. No, James Conn is Sonny.
Is he Sonny?
Yeah, that's Sonny Cookie. He dies. Very great character.
One of the greatest. One of the greatest.
Great performance also. I wish we saw more of him. James Conn, wow. Just wow.
There's a lot of Twitter these days.
I mean, as an actor, I really like him. I'm not too sure about his views. I don't really follow him on Twitter or anything.
I don't follow him either. I've just seen some stuff. Like, oh, this guy.
But that's the thing about these older guys.
I mean, it's a completely different world for them.
And also, you just like
media that
they have a voice now that they never had their entire lives.
100%.
So before, obviously, going back to that, I want to see more of that relationship in that. Maybe there is some sort of like Cain and Abel element to it that because also these are very barbaric people as they're depicted in the movies. So I want to see. I would like to see a lot of that. And also, but to go back to that, also the dynamics I'm very excited to see the dynamic between Irulan and Chani.
Yeah,
because that's
100.
Obviously, it's a very weird situation.
It's a very weird situation.
Especially since we haven't seen much of either of them.
Yes, much of either of them. Yes, I'm
So
very excited to see
develop
Chani. Very
together,
excited to see Xander because
which is also cool because it kind of shows that these two characters weren't like Arrakis.
Yes.
They weren't much until the Atreides came.
Yeah, exactly.
Until Paul.
Also, they're completely different people from two completely different worlds.
Yeah.
Where one was raised in privilege and the other one was raised in oppression.
Literally in a hole.
Yeah, exactly. Literally. Or in the hole in the ground. Yeah. It's really so that's really interesting.
One's like a fighter, one's literally a princess, and like a poet.
Yes, exactly. Yes, someone who's more reserved, who's looking a little bit. It's funny enough.
It's like
you haven't seen
a politician versus a revolutionary.
Yes.
Yeah.
You haven't seen Euphoria, but I would say Irulan is much like Cassie's sister, who's in the background, Lexi writing the plays, all of that stuff. Like
but it shines at the end.
It shines at the end. Oh, I'm very excited to see what Denis Villeneuve does in Dune. But to speak before we get there, I'm really also excited to see how he portrays Paul's rise to power, because this is something that, if you haven't read the books, it is a good thing for his family, but maybe it's not the best thing overall for everyone.
No, definitely. Any rise to power takes away from other people. That's, as you see, that's like just. It's also like I like that also is that with like sci-fi and all that, we tend to remove the human element.
Yeah.
But that's what the people that does very well. Also, you can also credit that to Frank Herbert, because
100%.
This is just like with most sci-fi films, it's more like these are different aliens, but this is just like different evolutions of mankind.
100%. Yeah, there's no aliens in Dune. In fact, everyone were humans at one point. I mean, there's a case to be made that the Fremen are alien, but they just have blue eyes. That's they just adapted to that environment. Evolution. That's the key word there. Like one of the key lines from this one of the trailers that they've had in Dune is Paul's mother saying to him, "Your father didn't believe in revenge," and then him saying, "Oh, well, I do." So I want to see how that revenge is enacted. I really want to see how, especially Timothée Chalamet's acting. He's a great actor. I felt like in the first film, Kadhir said this before, he was very understated. He's just like, oh, Duncan Idaho is doing something. He's reacting to that. His father dies. He's reacting to that. But to see him take charge and be the person that's doing all these things.
A great leader does not seek to lead. He's
culture. Yeah, and the call has definitely happened in Dune Part 2, when the Fremen are being oppressed, when the Harkonnens are.
But that also doesn't really, like, I get that, but he is also, this says a lot about his character also, is that he's kind of twisting it.
Yeah.
Because he's just doing this to benefit himself and his
100%. He's getting revenge.
But he's selling it as, I will free the Fremen.
Yes, I will free the Fremen.
I will be the one.
Yes, exactly. He's manipulating these people in a way that they want, and in a way that maybe even they don't even subconsciously know they don't want. But yeah, that's why I love Dune, because it really shows the degrees that people will do, especially in terms of religion. Yeah. So that's really something that I'm really excited to see. Just keeping on Dune, I think one of the things that I'm also really excited to see is just trying to think. This movie is a lot more of an action film than the first one.
Yeah.
The first one had maybe
very slow burn.
Very slow burn. There was one action sequence in terms of the Harkonnens coming and laying waste to the Atreides, but this film is back-to-back fighting with the.
Even that.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about that scene for a second.
Yeah.
My favorite thing out of the whole scene is, firstly, like, I like how they showed Duncan Idaho and what's John Thorne's
Gurney Halleck.
I love the representation of those two characters because it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
In that, like, you see Duncan Idaho in that, like, you see the different sides of a warrior, I would say. Because you see the leader in Gurney Halleck, he's like, with me, and he just runs straight into the battlefield. And it's kind of left open-ended that you're like, he definitely died. Like, that's what the movie tells you.
That's what the movie implies,
But with Duncan Idaho also, it's because he was like, I will fight to the end for the people that I serve.
Yes.
In that, like, he is the warrior of his king. He's like the king's man.
The knight. Yeah. The kingsman. Yes. Very, very well put. Yeah. And but just the Atreides, I feel like their death was really very sad in the way that they had to go out.
It's the fall of the house.
Yeah, the fall of the house. Literally, they all died in one single night, and nobody even knew about it until a certain point in the second book, the second film, I might say. Yeah, and I actually saw the budget came out today for how much Dune Part Two cost. The budget, it said it cost $180 million for that budget, which is 60 million more than the first film. So that just shows you how much they put in more because there's more action sequences, more CGI. They had actually built a slab of worm for Timothy Chalamet and others to actually ride on. So you actually get that tactical feel of the because what I've heard, the sandworm scene is one of the best in the film.
I like that. I like prosthetic against CGI. I like that, like
100%.
all the fusion that we have now, because you can fuse both.
You can fuse it, yeah.
100%. We've seen it also in like the Star Wars, the prequel series. You see, like it's a lot better when you fuse the two.
Yes, 100%.
And then also it's just good for like
longevity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because then also like if you want to have another worm scene, you have the worm.
You have the worm there. Yes.
You don't have to now pay a CGI guy to recreate it.
Recreate the worm, exactly. They'll always have that worm. So yeah, just in terms of all of that, and
it also gives like memorabilia.
And also, I need to mention this, that they had a re-release of the first Dune movie worldwide. And worldwide, this film, which you can watch at your house for free if you have the right streaming service, made 30 million on a movie that's literally already out. So that seems that there's a lot of hype for Dune Part 2. Just to compare that to another film, Spider-Man No Way Home, which is the biggest film of the pandemic era, on its re-release with 8 extra minutes of footage, that movie only made 8 million on its re-release. So clearly the Dune fans are hungry.
I think it's not only just like Dune specific fans. I think that there hasn't been much sci-fi in recent years.
100%.
So it's just like sci-fi people, and it's a great movie. So it's a good start also.
100%. Yeah. And actually, let me go to another Warner Bros. Type thing that I actually recently finished, but you finished about a year ago in The Last of Us.
Yes.
Pedro Pascal's in The Last of Us. Pedro Pascal's Mr. Fantastic now.
Wait, I just want to ask you one thing, like before we get to this. How did you feel at the end of it? How did you feel about the ending?
About the decision?
Yes. No, I think just like overall,
the whole show.
As like a show, like in terms of like cinematics, like in terms of the story, like as a whole, the show.
Yeah.
The end of the first season, how did you feel about it?
I felt that The Last of Us is probably the project that is going to solidify video game adaptations for years to come. Mm-hmm. Because I would say this is the equivalent of the Dark Knight, but for video games. Mm-hmm. People wouldn't think superheroes can be taken seriously until the Dark Knight. Yeah. And I feel like The Last of Us, this is prestige TV. This is up there with Game of Thrones, with Succession. I mean, it's HBO, House of the Dragon. Like this is that show. Just the first season, I felt like 10 out of 10. There was no episodes where I felt like, this one is kind of boring. I had to, in fact, stop watching the show after I think episode 5, whichever episode is the one with Sam and his brother.
When the kid died.
Yeah, I had to stop watching the show because I was like, wow, I really can't. Like that
it was such a setup, bro.
Yeah,
I felt like I got sucker punched in the belly.
Yeah, no, I felt like I got stabbed. Like really, it was very impactful for me. But yeah, that show is a great TV series. Very excited to see what's gonna come.
It's also bringing back to it's a good like starting point for like game adaptations because like what we've seen, we haven't seen like any straight game adaptations. Yeah. But we have seen like game movies like Free Guy, Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. Yeah, that hasn't been
the Adam Project. Like I don't know if the Adam Project is video game, but it has that's the type of vibe.
Yeah, it has that type, and it's made by the same guy who made Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. Who's going on to direct Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and Deadpool and Wolverine. So.
But speaking of like specific game adaptations, did you see the Borderlands movie?
Yes, I did see the Borderlands.
Yeah, that's my favorite guy. Bobby Lee's in it.
Bobby Lee's in it. Oh, yeah. I saw the Kate Blanchett's the main character, so that's really cool. I didn't know Bobby Lee's in it. Borderlands, I don't know much about it, but we played that one game that I had.
That was Borderlands 3, wasn't it?
I think, Borderlands, whatever one it was. We played that game. Great game, fun game. I want to see how that's translated. Like, just in terms of, like, to compare Borderlands and The Last of Us. I think not to take away from Borderlands, but Borderlands is just like any other story game. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy, It's fun time, like action, sci-fi.
There's some sense of like
it's not deep is what I'm trying to say, but The Last of Us is very deep, and I feel like there are a lot of those games that are very deep. But yeah, The Last of Us is incredible.
I was talking to my cousin about that the other day because I've never played The Last of Us, like not to completion. I've played like the opening because I love that opening sequence. I literally just want to see like the game versus the show because the opening sequence of the show.
What's opening sequence? Is it the same as the show?
With his daughter, with like that, and like you're like fighting to get to the point, and I just wanted to see like to compare the two. Yeah. I think that I like how immersive the game is. Yeah. That's
one thing I've heard a lot of people talk about.
But the show, I feel like it did it obviously because it's a show. So it's like it's more story.
It's more story, which Last of Us is more of a story game. Like one of the biggest movies from last year was also a video game adaptation in the Super Mario Bros. movie. But that didn't take any Mario game story and do that. No, they came up with their own story. They came up with their own interpretation of the characters.
Enjoy that movie?
I haven't even seen that movie.
I watched it. I watched it with my little brother.
Yeah,
it's like a kidding movie.
Yeah, it's a kidding movie.
Yeah, I didn't really like it, but I get that it's just for the kids.
Yeah, and also for those die-hard Mario fans out there.
Yeah, but like I feel like if you're like a 40-year-old that like played Mario in its heyday,
yeah,
you're not gonna really enjoy that movie.
I feel like there were a lot of those, but yeah, I understand what you mean.
I think they just watched it because
in terms of the narrative. Yeah, like this is.
I feel like they could have done more with it.
Yes, 100%. I agree with you there.
In terms of like world building and stuff. But nonetheless, it's very fun watch, very good watching. It's very nice. It has a lot of good music.
Yeah, Alex Taylor-Joy is in that.
A lot of shots, yeah.
And Alex Taylor-Joy is also playing a character in Dune Part 2. An unnamed character.
We're not gonna say anything, even though we have our
theories about who she's gonna be playing. But yeah,
I prefer not to say because
she's just
you tend to be right about those things.
Yeah.
And I feel like this could be like a spoiler, and I don't.
Yeah, no, 100% a spoiler. But yeah.
But it's kind of like when you narrow it down, it's like how many characters can she really
play? You know what I mean? But you wouldn't think that she played that character. You would think maybe before.
Did people have like baits and switches? It's like he did with Leah Khan. Because Leah Khan is just a male in the first. So like, what if he just does that with a different character? That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Could also be a different. That's one of the things.
Yeah, she's a great actress. She was great in The Witch, great in The Northman. Robert Eggers has a new movie coming out this year, The Nosferatu. That movie's gonna be pretty good, I hope. A horror movie for all the horror fans out there. Lily Rose Depp is in it. Yeah. I mean, I would say Nope, but Nope is even a horror western.
Yeah.
There wasn't.
I would say it, but that's
like a jump scare.
That's like from a while. Yeah, but it's not like a horror. It's
we haven't had a proper horror.
Yeah, it's like a baseline horror. I would say.
I mean, there was, what is that movie? With the tunnels. Barbarian. That wasn't really that scary.
It wasn't.
But
it was
the
good.
tone.
The
tone was very creepy.
Yes. Very eerie.
Very eerie. But I never was like, oh.
But it wasn't like
the plot twist was more scary than the actual film.
I feel like it was more like what I don't like about like what you see in horror in like modern horror movies is that it's like jokey. You know what I mean? That movie was very jokey. Yeah. Like Justin Long's whole character was a joke, but it literally sounded like a joke. Like your uncle.
It's like you're watching a different movie at that point when he came to it.
Yeah, I like that. I really do enjoy that. But like that, great movie though.
Yeah.
I don't think it would.
Yeah, but it wasn't the greatest horror.
It wasn't like a good horror. Like, I feel like the last like good horror I watched was like Hereditary. Yeah. Like The Witch. That era of horror was very good.
A24 seems to be the people who are putting out their good horror movies.
I haven't watched Talk to Me. Have you watched it?
Yeah, I have watched it.
Was it good? Did you enjoy it?
I would say it's a good horror movie, but I would say...
It's like scary.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Okay.
I
know it deals with like post-trauma and stuff like that. Like, from what I've seen.
Every A24 movie is a metaphor for trauma.
And they do it well.
They do it well.
And it's not getting old yet.
It's not getting old at all. Talk to Me. It's a great movie. It's just a great horror movie. But just for my own taste, I would have preferred something a little bit more. Like the story was really, like Kadhir just said, it's about trauma. I felt like they were really trying to push that. This movie's about grief instead of just having a creepy horror character.
I want a horror movie about fear. Like that's what you. Yeah. It needs to be horrifying.
Yeah, it needs to be scary. In fact, I can say that the scariest movie I've watched recently was Bo is Afraid, and it's not even scary because of demons or possession or anything that you might see in a horror movie. It's scary because of trauma. The scariest scene in that film is Bo's mother screaming at him about how he can't have a girlfriend. you wouldn't even think, and it's on a cruise ship, and it's in broad daylight. So you wouldn't even think it's scary, but in the film, the way it's absolutely terrifying.
Okay, so they encompass that, like childlike fear.
Yeah, childlike fear.
That's good. Like you see, like I like that. Like when horror movies are supposed to be about fear.
Yeah.
The baseline of it. Some horror movies, like I guess it's like some romance in it. Like at the end of it, like they get together or something. Or it's like about a hero. And I don't really like that.
Yeah.
But a good like, I'm also not like much of like a slasher film type of person. But like Evil Dead. Yeah. Like Evil Dead Rises.
Yeah. Evil Dead Rises is really good. Really good.
And I've been a fan because I remember when Evil Dead came out, like the first one, where they're like in a cabin. Yeah. I didn't really watch it when it came out. I watched it, I think, a year or two after. Yeah. But I really enjoyed it.
Really good. Yeah. Fede Alvarez directed that movie, and he has a movie in the Alien series coming out this year.
Really?
Yeah. Alien Romulus. Yeah.
Is it about the Prometheus
series?
No.
It's completely separated. That, unfortunately, we will not see the continuation of that because of the box office returns. Unfortunately. Yeah,
but it's because of the second one, Covenant.
Yes, Covenant.
That was the one that fucked it. Yeah. Because Prometheus that was a great movie.
Yeah, a lot of people agree with you there. In terms of just Alien, Ridley Scott's Alien prequel trilogy, I really wanted to see that completed, to see David's story and to see where that goes. Because at the end, it's a complete plot twist. He traps that girl inside that thing, and now he's the guy who's gonna, I don't know, bring hell onto the universe or whatever. The next Muad'Dib, if you will.
No, David, great character.
I mean, Michael Fassbender.
There was no way that character was gonna miss. There was no way. There was
especially with Michael Fassbender as the character.
And with Ridley Scott writing like that. Of course, he was gonna.
He did Blade Runner, so he knows the most about machine minds, if you will.
It makes you question like what's he like? Like I wonder what's like his mind like. Yeah. In that, because if he's so good at writing that, you see like maybe he has some sense of that in himself.
Yeah, I was saying the other day, like they had like this like a bunch of characters. He was like, and I was like,
speaking of Blade Runner, also Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve, one of the best. There's actually a Blade Runner TV series coming out. Blade Runner 2099. That's 2099.
Oh,
2049. I thought
Isn't that Spider-Man? That's 2049.
No, Spider-Man is 2099.
Oh,
but this Blade Runner is so it's 50 years into the future. If the last one was 2099. After Ryan Gosling. So if anyone's thinking what's gonna happen to Ryan Gosling, he's still on the stairs, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I like that though. Like I like the jumps where like they take, because it says also about the character that like he was a throwaway.
Yeah,
that's literally what he was.
That's literally what he was.
He's being thrown away.
Yes,
I like that.
Yes, not every hero needs to be the hero of their own story or the protagonist.
You know what that movie made me feel like? I don't know if you watched The Sopranos.
I've watched the episodes I've seen.
But there's a scene where Christopher Moltisanti, Michael Imperioli's
Really
character,
yeah.
well, his character says something. He's like, where's my arc? You know, because they kind of set him up in the show to be the hero of the show. But then Tony at the end.
I know what happens.
Yeah, Tony at the end comes in and is like, you know what I mean? Like, because that's his character. That's
for a 20-year-old show.
Yeah, it's like it's the overlapping of the characters. You see it. But I felt that was like later in 2049, in that like his entire thing was the entire movie. He was just trying to find his like, where do I fit in? Where am I as a human being? Yeah. And that's why it spoke so much to he's literally me character.
Yeah, exactly. To all those people who feel like they are the discarded people in life. Yeah. And even me, I felt that way.
It says
before.
It says so much about society that person like even exists, and that we live in this like this is. I don't mean to be political, but we live in this like liberal, inclusive. Yeah. But then they are still those people that are going to feel that way.
Yeah, there are people on the fringe. There will always be people on the fringes because
there's just too many people to always fit in. That's the problem.
There is just too many people in general. And that's actually quite sad if you think. Yeah, some people just don't matter, and I feel like that's life.
Yeah. And going back to Dune, Denis Villeneuve encompasses that. In that, that's where the Fremen are.
Yeah, the Fremen are the
throwaway people.
They are the people who are disregarded, the people that nobody thought about. That's why, in the film, it's such a.
It's also a great time for them to be coming out.
Yeah, it's a very interesting time for them to be coming out. Even though the people who are represented in what Dune is trying to say, even though they might feel a certain way about certain casting or whatever, I still say at the end of the day, it's a Hollywood movie. Yeah. They need to have big names attached.
Yes.
they won't.
It's for the sales of the movie. At the end of the day, it's all corporate.
Yes, it's all corporate. So, but that film means a lot to a lot of people in terms of what it's about, who it represents, what does it mean in the real world. So that's actually very, it's very good that movie's coming out.
Yeah.
The film has been delayed like 3 times now.
It was supposed
to come out last year November, but even before that, the movie was supposed to come out maybe even a year ago because of the whole. They didn't know they were going to make a part 2, but I feel like they always knew they were going to make a part 2 because it's an incomplete. There's so many hints in the film, whether it be talking about the Emperor's daughter, whether it be Paul even saying my road leads into the desert for the people who know what that means. So yeah, it's like
we knew the story was going to continue.
Imagine if Iron Man had bombed and Nick Fury is at the end talking about the Avengers Initiative. It would have been like the greatest shame in cinema, honestly. I'm glad that we got that. Yeah.
But why was that? Did the movie did not do well at first, and then
in terms of Dune?
No, in terms of sales. Yeah, in terms of
Dune. The first one did fine, but at the time it was the pandemic, so a lot of people weren't going to the cinema. The studio at the same time had decided to release all of the movies coming out that day on the streaming service of HBO Max and in cinema at the same day. So it's basically.
Oh yes, Dune did come on straight to streaming.
Yes. So it was like Christopher Nolan actually left Warner Bros. Because of that reason. He said, "Oh, you don't care about theatrical.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my movie Oppenheimer and do it with Universal." And they won. In the end,
Christopher Nolan, I saw something, I'm not too sure, maybe you could shed some light on that Christopher Nolan wants to do a horror movie.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I think I did see something as well as that.
I would imagine that though, like he's going to be like in the graves, like resurrecting people.
Depends on what the horror movie is.
Because he wants practical.
Yeah, no, that would be so epic. Just in terms of Christopher, I wanted to say Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer is probably the biggest movie that's going to get Best Picture this year. In terms of the Oscars, in terms of the Oscars, I actually just wanted to, if we can pull up the list of some of the nominations, and then me and Kadhir will just talk about who we think will be the people. Yeah, like just in terms of that, but just some of the nominations that I know in terms of
Can you just recheck how much time
just in terms of.
Don't tell me it hasn't been recording.
Nah.
No, you opened the recording, you didn't record.
But it's recording on your side though.
Yeah, but
the sound.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Okay. So what should we do?
Okay, let's cut and then we'll start again with the.
Okay. Man's with all the knowledge.